17.3 Operations using command line arguments. Now, so far we learned how to give command line arguments and how to retrieve them and display them. As far as displaying the arguments, command line argument is not a problem at all, because those are displayed like a string. Suppose at command line, suppose your program name is test. At test, you entered values like this: 12, 3.45. So now what happens? The 3 are converted as string. It is originally a string. That's why you don't have any problem. As far as 12 and 3.45 are concerned, for displaying values, we don't have any problem. Because once it is displayed, 12 is there, whether it is in a string form or integer form, simply seeing you cannot understand. So, if you have to perform any operation, you cannot do that. Suppose, if you have to make an operation like where is this? argv1. This is, where is this? argv2. Now, in argv1, 12 is there. In argv2, 3.45 is there. For displaying the two values, there is no problem at all. But when problem comes, you want to do this. Suppose you want to perform an operation, a multiplication. You cannot do that, because these are converted as strings. This is like a wrapped chocolate. A chocolate is there with you and it is wrapped. While it is wrapped and all that, then this is like this. This is wrapped. That's why you cannot perform operations. When you can consume your chocolate by removing the wrapper. Here, when we perform an operation, this wrapper should be removed. Once the wrapper is removed, that is string wrapper. That string wrapper is removed, they get the original form. That means 12 is converted as an integer value, 3.45 is converted as a floating point value. Then you can perform operations very freely. For this purpose, how can we remove the wrapper? That means, how can we convert strings into the original format? Actually, stdlib, standardlib.h, this is the header file. This header file provides us some corresponding programs, corresponding library functions. Those are a toy. Second one is a top. That means ASCII to integer. This is string is an ASCII one, and ASCII to integer, ASCII to floating point. Suppose, now what I told you, this is in this form, 12. This is also in the string form. If you give argv1 to this, that means indirectly 12 we are giving. Which form? This form. Then it removes that and it gives 12. 12 means actual integer. Then you can store it some integer a. Then integer a. Now this is float b. You store. Now what should you do? What you have at top? ASCII to floating point. What you have to give? argv2 we have to give. Originally, in what form originally it is? In this form. Then these are removed. Then removed and actual floating point value is stored. Then you write b's value, how it is printed, the proof you can see. Actually, this is in this form. You entered in this form. Then when you write after wrapping, removing the wrapper, if you write b's value, it is printed like this. So you can find, as far as floating point value is concerned, you can find prima facie proof. This is in the string form. Once the wrapper is removed, then it gets the floating point form, and whenever that is stored in B, whenever you write B, you can get this one. That you can practically see in the programs. Now you see, actually 17.3. 17.3, here you entered three arguments. The first one should be the program name and argv1, argv2, argv3, and just you are displaying 12th line. You see, you are printing them as strings. That's why percentage yes you have used. Those are strings. You cannot perform any arithmetical operations on them. Only string oriented operations you can perform. You cannot perform any other operations, either arithmetical operations, relational operations, logical operations, and all that you cannot perform. Only as those are string, those are in the string form, you can perform only string oriented operations. Now, if you remove the wrapper, then you can perform floating point operations on them. Now, let us see 17.4. 17.4. Here you see, actually you entered program name and the temperature, 3 days temperature. 3 days temperature is 30.0, 31.1, 32.2. Now, for display, where those are stored in argv1, argv2, argv3. Now, in this program, we have to calculate total temperature and average temperature. Total temperature and average temperature means what is required? The wrapper should be removed. The string should be converted into the float. The float in the string form should be converted into actual float. For this purpose, what we are doing, just to see from the beginning, and here total temperature is total temperature plus total temperature is originally 0. Et of argv, that is A to ASCII to float, that we are applying. Then all these values are converted into actual floating point values. Now we are finding out total temperature, because being strings we cannot find the sum of them. So now once those are converted as floating point values because of ETO function, we are able to do that. Thereafter we are able to find out average temperature, and we are printing average temperature. So by using ETO, now you see line number 15th, you have to carefully study. Every argument we are converting into float, and we have written. Now you see, when you entered, you have entered 30.0, 31.1, 32.2. Now you see day 1 temperature, this is 6 digits, and 31.1 also with the 6 digits after decimal point, and third one also 6 digits after decimal point. That is the floating point format. Those are printed. Total temperature you calculated, and subsequently you can find out average temperature. In this manner, ETO and ETOI converts ASCII into integer. ETO convert floating point string into floating point, and here we can enter now second run. You see, second run we have given 7 number of days, 7 days temperature, and we are able to find out the average of 7 days. So this is the procedure. Actually, in order to avail ETOI or ETO, we have to include stdlib.h, that you remember, and thereafter, after removing the wrapper, that is converting into original format, we have to store in a integer type variable like this, int a, float b, like that. Then thereafter everything is same. You received the arguments, you convert them to original format. Whatever operations you can perform on them freely. Next, one more program you see. Here you have entered name, you have entered age, and you have entered height, and all that uh, you are writing in 17.5 program, and you have converted sixth line. You see, toy you used, and age you converted into integer format originally, and that's why int age. And in the same manner, height you converted into by using etaf, you convert into floating point, and you stored it in floating point height. 17.6. In 17.6, first see the output, what we are producing as output. Here, four persons' names, corresponding ages, corresponding heights, we have entered as command line arguments. First see the output. Here, first uh, program name. Program name here it is printed as 15.6. He correct it. It is 17.ca 17.17 underscore 6. Thereafter, each person's name, age, and height you are entering one by one. Akash 25.5, Bhumi 21 5.7, Chitra 22 5.7, Dinesh 23 5.8. Like that we entered. Here one thing you remember, there are no prompt statements. How you require and all that you have to enter in the same order. You should have clear idea about that. You should not have any confusion. Here 4% details we are entering. Each person name, age, and height we are entering. That's why in the same order for 4 persons you enter. Now 4 into 3, 12 data items plus program name plus 12 data items, totally 13 data items we entered. Now here after this, now we want to produce a table, and by converting the age and height into the corresponding types. Now you see, age originally we declared as int, float, height we have declared as as float. Now what we keenly have to observe, this for a beginner programmer, it is not so easy to write the output in this fashion. Just you have to apply your common sense. Now you see 11th line, for loop we have written c is equal to 1, c is equal to 1, c is equal to 0 you should not write, because for all arrays c is equal to 0 you write. Actually here you know that 0 is the program's name, we don't require program's name. So c is equal to 1, c is less than argc. Argc represents the number of arguments. So 1 to the argc and c++. Now you see here 14th line prints the name. So name is a string, we need not make any conversion. And 16th line, etoy args vc, then the corresponding elements it is taking, just these statements you have to keenly understand. 13th, 15th and 17th lines you have to clearly understand. Now see, 13th line tells that it takes which element, it represents names only. Which elements it takes? It takes the first element. First element means second element, and third, fourth, fifth element, seventh element, and ninth element. Just second element, uh, third, fourth, fifth element, seventh element, ninth element are names. So 14th line prints those elements only. Just you have to keenly study this. Just like that you cannot write. Now 15th line deals with the age. That's why which items are ages. Now third item, fifth item. Now first one is program name, second one is name, third item, fifth item, seventh item, ninth item are the names. Next, third ages, get off, 18th line. Now you see, it extracts C modulus 3 is equal to 0. It takes 4th item, 6th item, 8th item and 10th item. In this way, they extract and you are converting them into actual values and you are able to print. Just this is really a challenging thing. You think, don't copy that. Now what we are doing, there are 10 arguments. In 10 arguments, just simple logic I have applied, and so much spoon feeding is not good. That's why you think first one is program's name. Okay. Second one is what? First person name 1. Name 1. Second one age 1. Third one is height 1. Third argument. Fourth argument is height 1. Next, name 2. Second, age 2. Height 2. Third, next, name 3. Age 3. Height 3. Name 4. Age 4. Height 4. So, this is the structure, totally 10 arguments. So, we don't require this one. Remaining arguments we are writing in this table and after converting. So, for age sake, which elements we have to take? Age sake, we take this element, this element, this element and this element. These elements, how can we extract and convert? That we have to think of. That we have to think of. And name, how can you extract? Now name, how can you extract? C modulus 3 is equal to 1. C modulus 3 is equal to 1. Now this is C modulus 3 is equal to 1. This is 0th element. C is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now you see 10, 11, 12 like this. Now you see, if you modulus 1 modulus 3, 1, 4 modulus 3, 1 and 7 modulus 3, 1, that is the name. In that way we have to extract. In this way we can extract age. You understand this code practically and then write the table. Thereafter, now using command line arguments only, we are writing cash bill. Cash bill, earlier just we are displaying, even after conversion also we are not performing operations. Here in this program we must perform operations. Here you see 17.7, we have entered program name, item name pens and program name, number of items and rate. Here actually rate you correct 5.5. This typing mistake. And now you see, now by using Yatoi, then we converted number into 10 integer form, and by using Yatoi we converted rate into floating point, and subsequently we are finding out the amount. If we have to find out amount and which formula you apply, that is numbers into rate you make, and the amount is printed. In this case, compulsorily you must convert a string into integer form as far as numbers are concerned, and as far as rate is concerned, you convert it into floating point. Then only you can calculate amount and print it. That point you remember. Here see, amount is equal to numbers into rate. Before that, we have to convert numbers into integer value and rate into floating point value. Then only you can find out. Otherwise, it leads to error. Because on strings, you cannot perform multiplication. Suppose if it is in string form, you cannot perform multiplication. multiplication, if you have to perform multiplication, it should be converted into original form, integer and floating point, then only you can perform, then you can print the cash bill.